Good evening, everybody. How are you? I hope as well. Whoops, I don't want to bump this too much. Sorry, let me get in a better position here. Hey, it's good to be here with you tonight. A lot has happened over the last few days. A lot of people have read an article or have decided, well, this is what this means or what that means. Talking with folks, there's so much here, and I want to try and explain it because everybody's got a what if, or what about that, or why the heck aren't you doing this? Let me start by saying this. If you've been watching these videos since way back when in March, you know that I've been trying to give you, as I see it, the straight information. Now, sometimes that straight information might not be exactly what you want to hear or what you think is accurate. And I guess what I want everybody to remember is that when all of this started, we did work with the governor. The governor worked with us. And then somewhere along the line, she decided to go on her own. And we took a lot of heat, we, the legislature. Well, why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you doing that? The legislature are the lawmakers, right? That's our job. So it would be really against all righteousness if the lawmakers didn't try to follow the law. And so we did. And we've got a suit that still sits before the Supreme Court. We followed this suit that these medical folks brought. Now, if there's one thing I think everybody can agree with, well, not everybody, because there's always somebody out there who thinks they know more than anybody else, is the law is a complicated thing. And this part of the law might, there's another part of the law. So, yes, the Supreme Court ruled on Friday. But this is the part that I find interesting is they didn't really file a ruling. This is how I'd explain it to somebody. They didn't file a ruling. They gave an answer to a federal judge. So some of what's going on here, it isn't like a classic lawsuit or a classic rendering from a court. So it's a little different. It's a little funky. The thing that bothers me is, and it doesn't surprise me, but it bothers me a little bit, is that, of course, the governor chose to go unilateral 6 months ago. And here we are today. And the couple of things that I find interesting is that people need to realize, especially those who might say that we are terrible for fighting with the governor on this and opposing her. Friday, here's what happened. There were two decisions made, two explanations given. The first one said, did the governor have a right to continue on with the emergency after we said no? And unanimously, 7-0, the Supreme Court said you did not have the right and you can't keep extending it under 76. 7-0. The second one was a 4-3 decision that said, now you have created an unconstitutional law here because of the way you've handled it. So think of it this way. The governor on Friday lost 11-3. That's a whooping, all right? But there is still law and precedent there. So some of this still has to get sorted out. Now, I know that the Attorney General has even said she's not going to follow this and do that. But there are still some things here that need to be answered. So all the answers aren't here yet. It's confusing and it's a pain in the neck. We are an instant gratification society and we want to know things right away. Well, that's not how it works in the law. Sorry. So a couple of things I think I can't answer. But one of the things that is really, I almost used a word I can't use politely in public. One of the things that really has bothered me is on Friday, I mentioned the fact there might be some of these executive orders that we need to say, yeah, they made sense. And immediately it was like a brush fire. You can't do that. I get that people are, oh, I almost used that word again. I get that people are upset. I do. But there are some of these things that made sense. Now, I know there are some people out there, again, legal beagles, who think I'm just terrible for saying it. But think about it. And I don't know them all. There's so many. There's a couple. For example, I wrote them down. What about expanded unemployment? Does that just go away? I don't know. I don't even know if we want to extend it. But it's there and it's under an executive order. So that's why I say, just, put your hands in your pockets and sit down. Also, Open Meetings Act. One county's already said, okay, we're going back. It has to be an open meeting. But yet, or they've canceled all their meetings because they're afraid of potential health risks. So maybe we have to put that one into statute. Is that one going to really burn your butt so bad that you're going to freak out because I said we may have to do it? Or what about extending driver's licenses because all these offices remain closed? Or what about liability coverage for our first responders and medical personnel? That's something we might have to codify into law. Oh, Jack, you can't do it. It was an EO. It's terrible. That's where I tell people, just back the heck up. All right? So just settle down. I know everybody's emotional, but somebody's got to keep a calm head here. Right? Because remember, whether you agree or disagree with the governor, there are people who are scared and there are people who are worried. And here's another thing you need to realize, how I see it. You can agree or disagree. We still have a virus out there. Now, is it the pandemic that maybe we thought it was? Are we managing it now? Are we in a state of emergency? I don't think we are, but we are still managing a health situation, right? And there are still some things that we need to be smart. Because if we just said, whoop, we're done, that's foolish too. You could agree or disagree with me. But my point, I guess, in all of this is and I know my colleagues in the legislature will continue to work to make sure that things are handled smartly because we're back in the game now. It's going to take a few days. We're going to be getting back into session here so that we can start dealing with this stuff. So I know it's an instant gratification society, but some of this stuff takes a little bit of time. Now, one of the questions that has come up is, what about this, the Department of Health and Human Services passing the, saying that the masks and occupancy rates still apply? From what I understand, that probably they can do that, but if the governor isn't careful, because of the Supreme Court ruling. This is just Jack's reading on this, please. I don't even play a lawyer, on television. As I understand it, they can do some of this stuff, but they are now open to lawsuit upon lawsuit upon lawsuit because of the Supreme Court ruling there. So, and again, that's not my rule. I might have it off a little bit. The point is the governor is going to have to come and talk to the legislature. And that's something we haven't had since March or I guess somewhere in early April when she decided to do her own thing. But just remember that those of you who might be worried, know that we, the legislature, have fought for 6 months and we won. Now we have to sort out that ruling and move forward. But if you're afraid that we're all of a sudden, we won, we're not going to do nothing, we're just going to roll over and let her pat our belly, it ain't going to happen. Remember, this is the legislature that fought for virtual meetings. We're the ones who created the return to learn. We were the ones that had the roadmap to reopening before the governor even did. She chose not to listen to it, but we had it there. Why? Because we were working for you. All right? We had healthcare liability. She vetoed it. right? We had a statute, and we also passed some nursing home reform, which she vetoed, only to have her task force come back and recommend pretty much the same darn thing. So please, people, I know you're mad, you're scared, you're worried. I will tell you that we are going to continue to work for the safety, reasonably, responsibly, regionally. But is it all going to happen by tomorrow? No. We're going to be back in session. We're going to get these things moving. The governor right now, I've got to be, maybe she's throwing a little bit of a tantrum, but she's got to realize that she isn't in complete control anymore. And she's, oh my gosh, here's a crazy thought, Madam Governor. You have to work with one of the other branches of the government. So I think it's going to take a couple of days for that to come through in her thinking. But it better come through because she needs to work with us. And people, I know there are people that are scared. I know that there are people who think this is all a bunch of balooey. I need you to know that this legislature knows we represent 10 million people. And there are different folks and different thought processes. I know we represent 10 million people. And what we need to do is find the solutions that work for everybody. Not perfectly for everybody, but work for everybody and respect people, right? So that's what I got for you tonight. I wish I had, we're going to do this, and this. The governor created a quagmire 6 months ago. We now have to put on our muck boots and climb out of it. Is it going to be done in a day and a half? I wish I could tell you it would, but you know it won't. But I want you to know that I'm working to make sure that this stuff gets done right. And I know my colleagues in the House Republican caucus are working the same. I hope the folks on the Democratic side of the aisle agree with us and work with us, all right? And don't just follow after the governor. So I'm going to assume they will, okay? But I'll let you know. So I know I don't have a ton of answers for you, but I want you to know I'm going to tell you what I think. And you can agree or disagree. And if you think I'm a horse's rear end because I want to codify licensing extensions and CDL licenses, go ahead. But when Friday, that really, all right, it pissed me off. When I said, hey, we may have to codify a couple of these things. And all of a sudden, I'm the son of Satan. You're not going to agree to something the governor said. Ooh, it just makes me so mad. Think, people. Think. Don't, the governor is like this. Please don't you be like this. Oh, well, what can I say? I'm working hard for you, and I'm going to keep working hard for you. I got into this job to serve the people, and I'm going to continue to do that, and I hope you appreciate it. So, all right, if something happens between now and Wednesday, I'll let you know, but again, there's a lot to unpack here. I wish there wasn't. I wish it was quicker. I wish there was quicker answers, but if you thought that, all right, this is I think you guys know by now I have kind of a warped sense of humor. So think of it this way. Do everybody remember the movie Carrie? Remember Sissy Spacek? And we don't need to know, the plot doesn't matter. But at the end of the movie, everybody thinks that the evil Carrie is dead. And what happens? Poof, the hand comes up out of the grave. So if you think this was just going to end because a court ruled with the situation we've been dealing with for the last 6 months, this ain't over yet. We've got to continue to fight. Just remember that hand coming out of the grave. It ain't over till it's over. So I will continue to fight from the Fighting 101. Have a good night, everybody.